Okay, we talk about EQ a whole lot in terms of real, like rigid type, 236 hertz, sir. And you imagine guys with lab coats or, at Los Alamos or something like that, some kind of really physicsy kind of thing. And EQ doesn't have to be that way at all. And I would argue that half the time it shouldn't. I mean, sometimes you do have this ring at 234 hertz, and you do need to deal with it. Okay, get in there and solve that one way or another. But sometimes you just need to go in there and just clear junk out. And it's not scientific at all. It's just using your gut, swinging some EQ knobs around, and it's kind of a reckless abandon almost. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here's a super serious song me and a buddy were working on the other day.
Soak it up, soak in the sun. You gotta soak it up, you son of a nun. You gotta listen to what I say. I didn't send you there to play.
Okay, and I'm liking the vocal sound. It's something kind of old school and kind of nasty, but kind of cool about it. I'm going to go ahead and commit to that vocal sound. And this is another concept I should probably do a whole other rant about. If you find something cool in a mix, go ahead and just put your foot down right now. Screw you, Shockmouth. We're going to That's me putting my foot down, sorry. Anyway, you need to formally declare in your head that I like this vocal sound. And is it the best vocal sound on earth? Could it be better? I don't know. If it could be better, then I should go ahead and make it better right now. But this particular song, in this situation, this vocal sound is the only thing I care about. And right now, I like it. I'm going to go with it. And like I said, I could overthink it all I want, but here we are. I'm just going to say this is the sound. And really, there's no reason it should change the rest of the mix. And by putting our foot down like this, we immediately declare what the rules are for the mix from here on out. Now, you listen to it one time, and besides being amazed by the musicianship involved on a song like this and the sheer level of talent, you probably didn't notice the problems. Now, let's assume this vocal is boss. What's the first thing we're going to hear? And I already know. Let's listen. We're looking for problems. We're looking for ways to make this mix better.
Soak it up, soak in the sun. You gotta
If you didn't find that bass fighting the vocal, listen again.
soak it up, you son of a nun. You gotta listen to what I say. I didn't.
They're too close in nature. That bass is going rah, 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 and the vocals going yeah, 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 yeah. They're not exactly overlapping entirely, but they're fighting in ways where we don't want it. And this is what I was talking about with the EQ business. This bass sound doesn't need to be EQ'd. Let's listen with the vocal muted and see if it has any problems. I would guess no. The bass sounds fine. The only problem is I'm making a song now and I have these vocals, and these vocals are so much more important than the grind in the bass, that upper mid-range in the bass. So let's go ahead and just use our EQ for creative reasons. We don't even have to sweep. We don't have to find junk. We don't have to think about it in terms of span or spectrography or anything like that. All we really need to do is make room for this vocal. And I don't even think the sweep technique would even work. I mean, I guess we could identify the frequencies we think make sense, but I wouldn't in this case. What I'm just going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a notch, and I'm going to sweep through until that vocal makes more sense. And I'm talking about on the bass here. Remember, we've committed to the vocal. It needs no more treatment as far as I'm concerned. I'm good with that vocal. So let's see.
Soak it up, soak in the sun. You gotta soak it up, you son of a nun. You gotta.
Okay, I'm yanking out 4 decibels at 1.5K. Now, that seemed really simple, and it is. This is a real easy concept, but few people, particularly like rockers who come from a guitar background, are going to take the time to do this to their guitar tracks. And it takes a certain amount of balls, but I guarantee you, any song where the vocals were clearly most important, I'm talking about, you're going back to, even Sabbath stuff and Zeppelin and, fast forward into the 80s stuff with whatever, name it. Anything where you think, man, those guitars are awesome, but you can hear the vocals are even more awesome. I don't know, Nirvana Nevermind comes to mind. Those guitars weren't stomping on the vocals. Somewhere in there, somebody had to say, we are going to compromise, and we're going to go ahead and make sure these vocals are most important. It's always that way. And you can, as you get better at mixing this, your tracking will get better with your guitars and things like that too. It applies to super saw synths. It's so easy to say, man, my synth tone is so important to me. I spent all these hours working on this patch. Or anybody who takes their tone really seriously is not going to like it when you start sweeping through their tracks. And that's one reason you don't want people like that there at the session. That's a whole nother story. But let's listen to this mix now and see how the vocals fit with the bass.
Soak it up, soak in the sun. You gotta soak it up, you son of a nun. You gotta.
All right, now let me turn that off. The EQ off, so now we're going to hear the conflict again.
Soak it up, soak in the sun. You gotta soak it up, you son of a nun.
EQ on.
You gotta listen to what I say. I didn't.
All I hear with that is the vocal is all of a sudden more important, more there, and less conflicted. The bass sound to me, as fine as it was before, is really irrelevant in this case. All these tone things are, and I don't think the bass tone is worse unless someone is just obsessed with 1.5K in their synth bass, which I guarantee that's rare. So the point here is to pull out EQ and use it not for science purposes, I guess is what I meant to say. Use it just to make room for make important stuff important. Pick something that you really like, and I either like to start with a vocal or a kick drum, but find something that we know is perfect about the song. I guess it could be guitars if you really wanted to, but starting with guitars or synths is a really tricky one because getting a human being's vocals to sit with that is a really tricky business. But anyway, find a reference point, stick with it, and make all the other tracks fit. And do this in ways that aren't remotely scientific, but in ways that you're just looking for more effectiveness. And that's something you can only measure, in my opinion, with an emotion meter. Now, when do I feel this intent of the artist more so? When do I feel the emotion? And this particular song is not really going to make you pour your heart out or anything like that. But I guarantee you it's more effective now that we've made room for it with this one little conflicting guy being not even neutralized, just kind of just tucked in there. So anyway, use your EQs for fun and make your songs better. Thanks, guys. Bye.